Hans, Donald Trump likes to portray himself as this great businessman, yet now he's claiming he took a deal that he could not accept. But he did accept it. And tonight he actually told the Washington Examiner, I couldn't have said no. Yes, he absolutely could have. What do you make of this? I mean, from the cheap seats here, he sounded nervous.
Yeah, he's managing expectations. And this is an 11th hour attempt, no pun intended, to work the refs. You know, all campaigns do this. What's different here is that usually it's some official that Peter and I are out with at drinks on background talking anonymously. The difference here is that Donald Trump is doing his own sort of debate expectation management. And like a lot of things with Donald Trump, that's unique. But it's really hard, and that whole montage you provide, it's really hard to erase 4 years of trash talk or downplaying expectations or basically saying that Joe Biden is so incompetent with 4 days of saying, oh, he's a masterful orator and these parameters are unfair. For more than 4 years, Donald Trump has been sort of laying the predicate for this debate, and I don't suspect he's going to have a whole lot of success trying to change voters' perceptions about what qualifies as a success.
Okay, Peter, that's the exact point I want to get to. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, after video, cheap fakes saying that Joe Biden can't walk straight, he's feeble, doesn't know where he is. Now he's talking like President Biden is this master debater. Isn't Sleeping Joe his favorite tag name for the president? What in the world's going on?
Yeah, you know, look, obviously he recognizes that the way he had set things up in previous weeks made it so easy for Joe Biden that all but Biden had to do was go to the debate and not, you know, dribble on his tie, and he would be seen as a winner because he's not, in fact, the doddering, senile old man that Trump has been portraying him. So suddenly, of course, he has to recalibrate and try to work the refs. As Hans say, it's not particularly subtle. It's not particularly much of a mystery here. He's just trying to, you know, set expectations and reset the bar so that it doesn't look too terrible when Biden stands up to him and doesn't look like he's the old man that Republican videos have been trying to portray. Now, that doesn't mean that Biden will have it easy. It's obviously a challenge for President Biden, and he will have to go up against a guy who is bombastic and loud and aggressive and in a way that Biden doesn't like to be himself. But I think that the expectation setting game isn't going to change the factors here. Everybody knows what's going on.
Hans, sources tell NBC News that President Biden's team is preparing him to get under Trump's skin if Trump starts the night more restrained than usual. What do you think about that strategy? It sounds like Biden's going to rattle his cage.
Yeah, Biden has always wanted to be more aggressive. You saw this in the run-up to the State of the Union, where Biden likes to take a pop, to take a shot at Trump. If you listen to him closely, and there's a great benefit in listening to presidents closely on what they say in fundraisers to their donors behind closed doors, but there's usually a transcript. And he calls Trump's names in that time. And that really gets at the core of what Biden thinks about Donald Trump, which is to say not a whole lot. He's called him a loser. He's gone even further. So, yeah, Biden wants to take a shot. And the big picture here is certainly within the context of the Biden campaign, is they want him to be portrayed as a fighter and someone who's not afraid of Trump. And if that has the ancillary benefit of going after Trump, but it also shows the American people that he's ready to fight for them. And that's the clear strategy heading into this.
Peter, Hillary Clinton, the only person on planet Earth who has debated both Trump and Biden, wrote an op-ed for your paper about what we should be watching for Thursday night. What stuck out to you?
Yeah, she's remembering, of course, what it was like to debate Donald Trump, who, you know, engages in bullying tactics and throws out a blizzard of claims and, you know, falsehoods and conspiracy theories. And even, you know, as she puts it in the op-ed, stalked her at one point on stage. And I think her point is to in terms of advice to President Biden, is not to let Trump do that to him, not to let Trump dominate that stage, but also not to let it fluster him. That, you know, in fact, that Trump is trying to get him, the president that is off his game. I think Hans is right that the president has been trying to get under Trump's skin for the last few weeks in a way that's been unusual and maybe in fact effective. You mentioned the Sleepy Joe nickname that Trump has often given the president. Well, lately, President Biden has been calling him Sleepy Don because, of course, he seemed to fall asleep in his trial in New York for hush money payments. So I think you'll see, a pretty vigorous debate by both. The president has, in fact, at times, looked his age in public, but on these big nights, the big events like the State of the Union, he's brought a lot of vigor and energy to it, and that's probably what we should expect on Thursday night.
Hans, explain this one to me, because CNN is saying that the moderators will not fact check the candidates during the debate. They're saying it's not the right arena for it. Do you agree with that? I mean, we interview people all the time. We moderate discussions. And when someone gives us a line of BS, we call them out for it. Why wouldn't why wouldn't that happen in a presidential debate?
Yeah, I mean, define fact check, right? I mean, I don't like. I have a feeling if Donald Trump comes out and says that the Soviet Union doesn't dominate Eastern Europe, or says something that's clearly false, I know Jake Tapper and Dana well enough that their muscle memory will kick in and they'll just instantly want to correct them. Now, will there be a 14-point refutation of the history of the Soviet Union in Eastern Europe? No. But or there will be, and that's just what they feel is going to be sort of required. But if either candidate says something that is obviously untrue, I expect journalistic instinct to take over, and I have enough respect for both of those anchors, both of those journalists, that they will. And it's kind of like what we like to do, right? I mean, if someone that we're interviewing in real time says something that is obviously untrue, it's an opportunity for the reporter to ask a follow-up or to press. So, it's really just what's the definition of fact check, and I think that's it's a loophole that any producer could walk through, any correspondent can, any Philadelphia lawyer can figure out.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.